All right, there it is. And we've got... No, I didn't figure out the flashlight on my own. That was the kid. Thank God for kids. My kid is going to be 21 on Friday. Ooh. She is so excited. She is. I told her, unless this translates into me not having to give her any more money and her starting to pay for me, then the number really doesn't mean anything to me. Those are the only two things that I can really start to, appreciate. When I don't have to pay any more money and I start getting money. Oh, I ain't even got there yet. No, I'm not there yet. So good evening. My name is Minister Laura Taylor. This is SOFBI 350. This is Christian Counseling Part 2, Week 2. And tonight, we are going to talk about death and dying. But before we get into that, I see the excitement all over your faces. Before we get into that, we're going to do a quick review of what we talked about last week, and we're going to go over the homework assignment and do a little bit of interaction about the discussion thread, because that'll help just kind of take us right into tonight's lesson. Okay? So, let's look at homework number 1. Now, Miss Barbara, I'm going to have to take you up on your offer because I do need my textbook. So the homework had 5 questions. The questions on the homework will always be, and you know where my little truck is right there in front. The homework will always be directly taken from the reading, and the quiz and the final exam will be a combination of the reading assignment, what we talk about in class, and your student outline. Okay? Okay, so the first question on the homework was, according to our reading in textbook 1, the following is a true statement. There is an underlying assumption that sickness is an accepted part of living in this world. True or false? True. And now, while we don't agree that that statement is true, and the textbook was very clear that that is the underlying assumption. The reason that is the assumption is because this is the world system, the society that we live in, the system that we currently are involved in. And we'll talk about it even more tonight, and we'll go into a little bit more once the textbooks come, mine. But the world system kind of fell off the curve when Adam sinned. And so instead of starting really at the beginning, we kind of start in the middle. And so the believer's life is really about knowing all 3 spots. Knowing the beginning, when God made man. Knowing the middle, when man fell. And knowing the end, when Jesus comes back and reconciles the entire world to himself. And so the believer has to constantly be aware of where he or she is standing in the equation. Whether we're talking about life in the beginning with God and Adam before the fall, or if we're talking about life after the fall, where the world system and Satan is in charge, and we are here on earth in the world system, in the world, not of the world, or if we're talking about after Christ. Thank you, ma'am. You are such a sweetie pie. I'll take all that. If we're talking about life after the born-again experience. And so where we have really kind of gone back almost to the beginning, where we are walking in the same relationship that Adam was walking in with Jesus before the fall. So this textbook, so now that I've told you the three spots that the believer, where do you think this textbook was written? In what phase of the equation was the textbook written? In the middle. This textbook is written from the perspective, this can't be good, y'all. Naomi, look at that little yellow.
You got two red lights on your doodad.
Yeah.
It's blinking that it's recording.
I know, and it said it went yellow. Something went yellow, and now my red is green. Well, we're going to go under the assumption that we're still going on until I see someone come through the door who can help me. But this textbook was written in the middle. Now, being in the middle is fine as long as you know and understand the beginning and the end.
Right.
Because wherever you are, if you understand the beginning and the end, you can always put it in perspective. Mm-hmm. So that's why that statement that as long as there's an underlying assumption that sickness is an expected part of living in this world. Why is that the case? Because in this world is where the dominion was given over to Satan. Satan is now in control of the world system that we're currently living in, and there is an element of control that he still has with regard to the atmospheric continuum that looms over everyone, both believer as well as unbeliever. We are in this world, but not of this world. So when it rains, if we go outside, as a believer, if you don't have an umbrella, you're going to get wet. Just because you're in the world. However, when the virus of flu is massively released and you walk outside, you don't have to participate. Because you are in this world, but not of this world. And so when you know that, then you are able to hear a statement and determine where it's coming from. Okay? So, when you did your discussion thread, I wanted you to see, and so because the question comes up, well, if this book has so many conflicting views, Minister Laura, why do we use it? Yeah, many people think that. Many people think that. And so the question is why in the world would you use it if it has so many issues? The reason we use it is because in order for you to be effective, you need to know what the issues are. If you are like my mother is a fabulous cook. I mean, the bomb. I mean, the woman had 12 kids. We never knew we were poor or hungry or any of those things because she could cook anything, and I mean, there was always food in our house. How do you have so many kids? And not only was there always food, we were always feeding other people. But the truth of the matter is that the way I learned how to cook was the way my mother cooked. My mother was big on sauces and gravies and everything. I mean, everything had a nice, brown gravy. It was, we were big smothered pork chops, smother this, smother it, honey. Put the top on it and onions and smother it. But, so I did a collard green. I don't know if we got the vitamins and the minerals that we saw, because that joint was cooked, overcooked, and it was, smothered with a ham hock. I mean, I'm gonna just tell you what it is, and so it was delicious because that's where I grew up. As time went on, Miss Anthony, can you tell me if I'm on? Excuse us. See, I'm.
No.
Yeah. Just there it is, Mr. Laura. The answer is no. Deal with it. No, that was clear. No, you're not on. And I did see it.
It was on.
It was on, yes. And then it went
It's just
yellow.
recording.